It being 5:33 on May 6th, I will call the meeting to order. This meeting is occurring under the governor's emergency order number 12. That's waived the requirement of having a quorum of the board physically present for a public meeting. Roll call. And Barney.
Says the new best practices guidelines that came out last week give operators a lot of leeway.
Present.
Bob Letourneau.
Here.
Eli Badger is here. The business of the day is the new utility poles on Main Street at the Common Man Crosswalk.
Okay, I didn't know anything about that till about 2 minutes ago. I just happened to be checking my email and I saw it, and glad I did.
Okay. Craig?
Let me start, Eli.
Okay.
Apparently some miscommunication here. We had a pre-construction meeting at the town hall on Tuesday for the TAP project with Mike Vignali, Craig Moore, and a couple of other guys who are working on the project. There was discussion about lighting. And I was informed that there was some thought that the lights at the crosswalk at the Common Man, if we might consider some more decorative lighting as opposed to the standard ugly black poles to sort of match what's there on Main Street. At the time, Craig told me that we needed to decide pretty quickly because they needed to be ordered, and it takes a long time to order those. That's why I decided, because I have no power to approve these things as an interim town manager, I said I will call a brief meeting of the board to get their thoughts. So I apologize that this is last minute, but I felt like it was what I needed to do in order to get the board's input on these things. You heard what Fred had to say very briefly. I'm sorry he couldn't. But anyway, I wanted to get your thoughts because it's an expense that wasn't part of the project. So that's just by way.
For some reason or another, you're muted out, Fran.
Did you hear any of what I had to say?
No,
I didn't.
about the last 30 seconds was cut off.
Okay. Well, I've said what I needed to say.
Okay. Craig?
All right, so I'll try to add a little bit to that. So if any of you have gone by the Booster Club and can attest to it, there is one of these light poles right in front of the Booster Club that is spec'd out on the original design. I guess if we were all on our game and we really knew what we were doing when this project was presented a year or 2 years ago, we probably would have had Mike add that light pole to the plan that you see on the plan right on your screen today. And it would have been added to the project, but we all missed it. Once we saw the poles that Mike put in the plan go up, and then it's a kind of a red flag. Oh crap, they kind of look out of place. And most people like Franklin, Mike did a sidewalk project for Franklin, and this is what Franklin put in for their entire Main Street. So they're decorative. So Rob, we ordered the $800 poles and they're wooden. And if you guys see the Booster Club one, it looks like a big pole right in Dan's front yard. And it is, it's a big wooden pole. I do not have prices yet for that pole that's sitting in front of you guys. That could be, according to Mike, upwards of $6,000. It could be less. He's not sure. He didn't buy them. He just presented that to Franklin and they accepted it. Now, the poles that you guys got in my email, did you guys, any of you get the email that I sent out this afternoon?
Sorry, I didn't see it, Craig. I see it's in my box. I can look at it right now.
So, Eli, do you happen to have that you can share, or,
Okay, what time did you send it out?
3:10.
yeah, it was right, it was, yeah, yeah. It's a Shakespeare, so right now, the contact that I have that we use already for a vendor, this is what he can get. They're a little different.
The last email I have came in at 1:37.
Oh, shoot, you know what? I may have used, do you have a different email that's,
Let me check my,
it could have went in your personal one, because sometimes I make that mistake and put,
let me check.
I could have put your personal one. There's a prefix like iCloud or
Read
something?
more.
Yep, I think I put your wrong one now that I think about it.
Okay. Let me get this one out of here.
So just while he's pulling that up, so it's been kind of hectic trying to get all these prices real quick, and having the salesman respond to you in an emergency fashion is kind of hectic at best, but okay, so no, that's still the old one.
This is the only one. This came in at 3:10.
Wasn't there another attachment to that?
I am looking for the attachments.
I got one that had attachments.
I got 3 attachments.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a way to, can anybody, I'm not at my desk. Can anybody forward that to Eli? To his
I
town?
can.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
There
Is
you
that-
go. Now you got it.
Okay, can you see the Shakespeare?
Yes.
Yeah. So if
Okay.
you guys just look through that, there's several different types of poles. So there's, I don't know, there's literally 28 pages of poles on there of different configurations. They have different bases and things like that. So anyway, basically what we're looking at, if we bought something like this, we're looking at about $3,200. And that would include a cross arm, something to hang the light on, like the first picture you had.
Mm-hmm.
First picture I have is this one.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
would be similar to that. They could attach a cross arm to the Shakespeare one. And I think he's quoted me with I think it's got a light bulb on it, a light fixture. And I got a price in front of me of roughly $3,200. Now, the ones that you saw, like you have on the picture right now, Mike said they could be up to 6. But we're not sure exist at this time. So I think what Franz
So
wants to know,
So this one is $3,000.
right? Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
3,200 approximately, give or take. And I don't have any hard numbers because we would actually have to pick out the exact pole you want and tell him the information. He'll give us a cost. But I think we have time to make that decision. But I think Fran just wants to know, do you guys want to put the old poles on Main Street, or do you want to do something ornate? Give us permission to spend a little extra money on it. And I think I got I got a few weeks to put these poles in because it's not actually involved with the sidewalk. They're off the beaten path. So what needs to happen is once they remove the sidewalk, we would put conduit in the ground to accept electrical wires, if you deem to do that. If not, Rob's going to run a power across the air, over the air to the light, just like you see all the lights in town. So there'll be a wire to the top of the pole and one of the street lights, just like you see on Main Street, right in front of Alex's restaurant. And the other one's over by the fire hydrant in his parking lot.
So how many of these, we only need 2, or,
Unless Ann wants you to buy one for the Booster Club. And then that's 3 total.
Well, if we're gonna get them, if anybody goes to the parking lot at the Booster Club and looks, right now, when you look to the left, you see a tree, you see a crosswalk sign that was just put in, you see a mailbox, and that big pole. You can barely see traffic to the left since all that stuff's been put in. It was bad enough with just the tree, but now all that other stuff is there.
So it would be narrower, and this would be a narrower pole than the
Yeah,
the
this
wood
is,
one.
it's kind of a hazard right now, the way it is.
can we look at this? I mean, will we be able to get some prices before the 17th?
I think so, but I guess we need to know before the 17th. Eli, they may cut that sidewalk, and we
Well-
just need to know before so I can put conduit in the ground. Because if you guys want to stick with wood, the power's going to go overhead. That's what the plan calls for right now.
Okay, my question is, if they cut it, put the conduit in, even if we decide to go with wood, why can't they run the conduit up the outside of the wood?
We could do that. Yep, we could do that, and that would eliminate the wire overhead. But I think we could do that too. I don't know how
And-
Rob attaches that
and-
wire to a wood pole, but because
Okay,
the ornate ones are made to go inside the
yes,
inside the black.
you know, I
You'd have
understand
wires.
that.
Yeah. You just have wires on the outside of the wooden pole, and it would kind of look
Yeah,
funky.
run through another conduit.
Yeah, you'd have to run conduit up the side of the pole, which would kind of look industrial.
And while I like the idea of not running wire outside the lighting fixture. How much, it comes down to how much money are we gonna have to spend?
Do we have the money, Craig?
Actually, we do have money in the electric department, under, equipment line. New infrastructure, what we would buy normally, streetlights and telephone poles. We have money in the line to do that.
Is there enough there to do this project?
Yes, there is.
Okay, thank you. I think that it'd be a great idea to do something decorative because we're trying to improve the downtown image. And I think we ought to do one for the Booster Club and the 2 downtown, and that would make a vast improvement for the image of it.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do about the rest of the wooden poles? Everything else is on a wooden pole.
Well, the
Yeah,
rest is not gonna have lights on.
There's
no,
lights
they-
on wooden poles already in town. You've got your wires running on some of those poles also, supplying power to the homes along there.
Well, Andy, I would think about it is we could probably replace those as we go along, but right now, this is what we could do. And I mean, it's an opportunity now while the thing's all tore up to do this.
Craig, these
Yeah, go
are
ahead.
just single-use light poles, aren't they?
Yes, even the wooden ones, but that's their only purpose is to carry lights for the
These are not-
sidewalks.
These are not power poles,
That's right.
are totally separate animal.
That's right. Just street lights, and every crosswalk that they put in that's new has to have a street light off on each side, on each oncoming lane of traffic.
So,
Yes. Yes, but you still got the telephone poles with the power cables running down through that stretch.
Yep.
That's right, along with the old street lights that are existing today, correct. But the issue is throwing a wooden pole in the middle of the, the common man restaurant. It is going to look out of place, and that's why it came up initially.
Okay, Craig, I would think that this would make the area look somewhat better. However, right across from the common man, how many power poles do we have?
There's none right across from it. It's just the,
In that, okay, excuse me.
there's
in that
one on the
area.
corner of Winter Street, and then the one is up in front of the Baptist church.
So the alternative, there is no power pole that feeds into common man.
He does have a metal pole in his parking lot that lights his parking lot up.
And
And then along his sidewalks, he already has decorative ornate poles that
Yeah,
he
he
put in
has
himself.
yes, he has those.
So he has already upgraded our main street, and there's question whether we should do the same. That's all. It's up for you guys to decide it. That's all.
So how many are we talking, Craig? 3?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to take care of the one at the Booster Club as well,
Absolutely.
Ann's right. That pole's fat, and with the tree and everything, you have to really get your nose out there in traffic. And the cast iron poles are going to be a lot thinner.
So in the future, is there a possibility to upgrade the other lights along the main street to look like these? Or is that going to be a problem in the future?
Well, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on this, but when Franklin did their street lights, they may have been part of that downtown USA type thing, and they revitalized their main street, and maybe they put all the power underground. But I'm not sure about that. That would be the goal for Ashland, is someday
That's what Plymouth did.
That's right. Someday you dig up the main street, replace the sidewalks, and while you're doing it, you put all power underground, and then those light poles come down. That's the goal. That's what everybody is doing nowadays. And it makes it.
So if we're going to do this and we're planning for the future, while they've got that sidewalk torn up, we need to lay conduit down the whole stretch so you can replace all of those, because they're fed from underneath.
Yeah, so I talked to Rob, and on the common man parking lot side, we would run power from that pole on the corner of Winter Street, and we would put conduit where they're going to open up the sidewalk, yes. But on the other side, the common man side, that would be fed from his existing electrical service. And Rob said he'd have to figure out how to get that done, but he thinks he can. So we would put conduit where they are going to open up the sidewalk, yes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, it's been mentioned that we should replace all of these lights in the future, or go to all these lights in the future. We have the street torn up. We have the sidewalk torn up. If we're even thinking of doing this, we need to be putting the conduit in the whole length of Main Street. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it unless you tear up fresh pavement.
Are you talking on the existing sidewalk they're digging up now today?
Correct.
Those utility poles are currently in the grassed medium, and I believe the plans call for that to be grassed. When they put that back together, so the poles, that's why we moved the poles out of the sidewalk. So we moved them out of the paved area into the median between the road and the sidewalk. So that probably wouldn't be a problem if we decided to do like revitalize Main Street in 10 years. We probably could dig in the median with a mini excavator or something like that.
And what are you going to do about the driveways?
Well, it's not paved, that's what he's saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, Andy, you'd have to dig through them, of course, but I'm not about.
That's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
if you're contemplating replacing all the lights on Main Street with this type of light, they've got it torn up now. Now is the time to put the conduit in.
I can't even imagine what that change order would be like. So, I don't even know how you'd get that done now. I mean, I don't have the manpower. And we have 3 weeks, 4
Okay,
weeks before they're done, so that's just not gonna happen. I mean, you know that.
ladies and gentlemen, I figured that we would need to put 4 light poles in, because there's one on each side of the crosswalk down by the Booster Club, correct, Ann?
There, I don't know about the pole on the other side. I just
No.
know the one on my side is.
Yes, but we have to have,
You want to match them.
lights on both sides of the crosswalk now, correct?
That's right, Eli, and Ann's
I generally
crosswalk
am, yes.
already has 2 poles existing today, but they're both wooden.
Yeah. So, we need to know, if we do this, we need to know lead time on getting them purchased, and we need to know cost. Can you get that to us by the 17th?
Yeah, but you need to pick out you guys need to tell me what pole you want me to research. And then I don't know if that's gonna interfere with GMI's work. So we can try for it and have them put it off. I'll do my best. I'm pretty sure I can get you a price, but what do you want me to quote? The one that went in Franklin, New Hampshire sidewalks? Or you guys wanna? I know you guys don't want to have another meeting before the 17th, but you guys want time to look over that Shakespeare catalog, or?
Well, I mean, does the Shakespeare catalog give us any costs?
Well, I told you, he gave me some rough numbers because it was so quick. It's $3,200 for one of those light poles like you see on the Shakespeare.
Any one of them?
He said, depending on what you get, it could be less, could be 2,400. It could be as much as 3,200. And then I haven't heard back from the ones that went to Franklin yet. And I don't have a vendor from them yet, so it's kind of tough. These guys, we already buy stuff from, so it's a little easier dealing with somebody you've already used. So I'm waiting to hear back from the ones that you saw at Franklin, New Hampshire. The ones in Franklin, I think, are a little more ornate.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason to have this meeting now is it's just a little, I know you guys all need prices. But that's why Fran did it so quick. It was just we know time is of the essence, so I'll get the prices to you but there's so many in there. What do I ask him to price out?
Well,
Do you want to pick a
Oh.
couple board members to come down and sit with me at some night and pick one out?
can you see the Washington?
I have it in front of me, yeah. I've just printed them all out.
How high do they need to be?
As high as we can get them. So that's the caveat. Some of these are only 13 feet, but we need some that are
Okay,
the highest
Uh,
one.
I'm done.
Okay, the drawing number that I'm looking at is Q-21-02-052-1. It's 16 feet.
And that's in
It's
the,
maybe 15 feet. It's got the arm that hangs over. It's maybe 15 feet. It's 16 feet to the middle of the fixture.
that's in the Shakespeare one there.
It was one of the single pictures you sent us.
Okay,
Oh, so yeah. That's the one that,
Not that one, the other one,
this
that
one,
one. Yes,
the
Right.
Luminaire.
that's 16 feet. I don't know what the other one is. It doesn't really,
yes,
it's 14 something.
yeah.
This is
These are the
16
ones,
feet with a 4-foot arm on it.
yes. So that would be compliant for our sidewalk, but those are the ones that Franklin used. I don't have a price on these. I'd have to contact that distributor and I haven't heard back from them yet. Because they don't know Ashland Electric, so
So
I can get
Yeah.
prices for
Yeah.
that for the 17th. If that's what everybody likes and you want to go with that, I'll get prices for that. That sounds good to me.
I think that what we have to do here is decide whether or not we want to do ornate, and then that gives Craig the ability to put the conduit and get prepared for it. We can pick out the style and get the prices and then pick one on the 17th or whatever. I guess that would speed things up here. Eli, would you agree that we should just decide whether or not we want to go with the ornate or not first?
That would be a rational way to start it, yes.
And then we can make a decision on the style, because he'll already be able to put the conduit in the base work that he has to have to mount the thing.
No matter what, I mean, even if it's a wood one, we can still run the conduit in those locations and just bring it up on the outside of a wood pole if we have to. For the
Yeah.
time being.
Yeah, Eli, conduit's cheap. It's $1 a foot. We even have some down there existing. We have a big pallet of it. It's not gonna cost us to run that pipe. And then we'll just cap it. We cap it if we don't use it. But if you guys vote for it, then I'll get you the information you need. That'll give me time to do my work. You either vote yay or nay, and we'll move on from there, and I'll get you prices for the 17th.
That works for me.
Okay.
Andy?
Yeah, I'm in favor of just putting the conduit in and then we can make the decision between wood and ornate. We've got wood the whole length of that street with one exception. You don't see anything that's even remotely ornate until you get down to West Street. I think we just replace in kind. That's where I'm going, but let's put the conduit in. And then we're not making a decision under fire.
Well, Andy, that's the whole key. If you stand on the crosswalk and look at the common man from the parking lot, he has ornate poles lined the whole way. And we're gonna stick a wooden one right in the front of his building, right exactly next to the sidewalk that you walk into his building, right in the midst of all the ornate poles that he put up. That's the question. And as the town looks, it makes us kind of look like, why the hell did they do that? That's what people are telling me. Why are you doing that? So you're gonna get the same things, because once we do it, I know if I put a pole there, they're gonna complain. Everybody that walks into that restaurant.
So let's make a decision
You
on.
don't even know a cost yet. That's
I
one of my problems.
$100 for one of them. I do not know the cost of the very, very ornate one. But I will get you the prices.
A case has been made for the taller street light. Do I hear? We don't know what it costs. We do know that we can put the conduit in. And once we find the cost, we can make the decision to either go with wood or any number of the posts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Eli, I'll make a motion that we put the conduit in and make a decision another day on the ornate or the wood. But let's get the conduit in the ground.
Do I hear a second for this?
I'll second it if we can modify it, because I think we want to go with the ornate because of the situation downtown. We just don't know which one because of price. And
Yeah, Bob, that's why I say let's just get the conduit in the ground and we can make the final decision when we get all our prices and we know what we've got. So, like I said, let's just get the conduit in the ground.
I think we get the conduit in the ground, but we do not want to put wooden poles there. I can tell you they are god awful at the Booster Club. And it's gonna look tacky. We don't know which one we want to pick, but I think we want to go with something. Craig says we have the money to do it. Let's do it.
no, I agree. I mean, that's what I'm
We
saying.
don't have
but I
to pick
think-
one tonight,
You're
but I
right.
think we make the decision to do it tonight.
Right. We don't know which one because we don't know the cost.
Right.
But Craig says he's got the money, and obviously if the pole like the one that Franklin has is ridiculous in expense, we'll go with the one that Eli likes, the Washington. And there's nothing wrong with that one.
Anything is better than those.
It has to
poles.
be the pole has to meet the height specifications,
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah, that's right.
So if it's the difference between a $3,200 pole, ornate pole, and a $6,000 ornate pole, I'm probably going to be more inclined to go with the $3,000 ornate pole.
Absolutely, if it meets
I
what it
agree.
needs to meet, but I think we definitely should get a pole and not the wooden.
So
Okay, there is a motion to put conduit in It's been made by Mr. Fitch, semi-seconded by Mr. Letourneau.
I think we need to add that we want to have the poles. Not the wood, not just say we're gonna put the conduit in. I think we make the decision and we pick what pole when we have pricing.
I will support that, and I need the support of the rest of the board so we can move forward, because I don't want the project to get killed.
It could end up 2-2. There is a motion on the floor, unless you don't want to second it, Bob.
Yes, I second it.
Okay? Is there any further discussion?
If we agree to that, that's not agreeing to the pole.
That's right.
We will have another vote on that.
Now, is there any more discussion on this motion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ann Barney,
No to just the conduit.
Andy Fitch,
Aye.
Bob Letourneau,
Aye.
Eli Badger says aye, so the motion fails. Now, present another motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the conduit, with the choice of which kind of ornate facilities we're going to use, depending on cost. We will have to get some cost estimates to make a final determination on which pole we're going to use.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of voting for something when I don't know the price of the items. I think we need to wait until we get the prices.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ann Barney,
Aye.
No, it's got to be done here in a minute.
Andy Fitch,
Nay.
Bob Letourneau,
Aye.
Eli Badger, nay. Motion fails. I don't think this is. I don't think that trying to redo this is productive at this time. I want to know what costs are before we do this, even though we have money.
Would you feel better, Eli, if we made a motion with the cost included, the $3,200? We'll just say $3,300 per
If
pole.
you, okay, Bob, here's what I would vote, here's what I might vote for. You put conduit and the price of pole not to exceed X amount of dollars. And then we know about how much money we're going to spend.
Right. Okay, well, the motion I will make then, when we go forward with the conduit and the cost of the ornate poles not to exceed $3,400 each. And a total of 4 poles.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Greg, do you think you can bring those in under that or at that?
We're in voting mode, Andy.
Yeah, I think we can. For the ones for Shakespeare PDF that I got. I can't tell you. I'm not sure about the ones that Franklin, New Hampshire used.
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay. Roll call vote. Ann Barney,
Aye.
Andy Fitch,
Nay.
Bob Laterno,
Aye.
Eli Badger says aye. Is there anything else before this board this evening?
I
Hearing
do
none?
not have anything. I did want to say one thing while we're not on this subject, that I noticed that the ladies were doing the flowers downtown. They're doing a hard job and they're doing a nice job. Just thought we ought to mention that the people are doing a nice job on the flowers.
Thank you, Bob, for mentioning that. I haven't been downtown.
Can I just ask, are we gonna go to in live person meetings soon? We seem to be getting more and more issues with people getting on Zooms. And I just think it would be easier.
I don't like you that much. Even eventually. It's going to be a board decision.
We'll be going pretty soon, Ann, I think. I think the governor's gonna be making a decision in the next week.
You
or
know, the
so.
governor's got to rescind a couple of more things.
And
And then it's a board decision.
I have it on good information. The governor's gonna be making some positive changes very soon.
Okay. Anything else? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Motion,
make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded by, I'll second it. All in favor?
aye.
Go
Aye.
away.